Oh, thanks.
Matthew, how are we doing? Are we robot-y?
No, you sounded good, Tom.
No, for Matthew.
I'm asking Matthew.
Oh, okay.
It's still locked onto the wrong mic, so I need to fix that. So give me a moment, but you can go live.
Okay.
Well, we're already live. Hello, welcome to the Christy Winters Patron Hangout for the month of January 2019. But also, Matthew, you are at least not robot-y with that microphone, so there's that.
Shut up, Jonathan. Let the lady do the hair.
No, I'm quite happy. I'm gonna just let Jonathan host this month. And I'll just, you guys, you've been doing this long enough. I'll hand over. You did fine. So, yeah, Jonathan, you run the show, and I'll just pipe up whenever.
And so, Christy Winters, how are you doing?
Yeah, I had a good week. I don't know if people had a chance, depending on your time zone. I did my Sunday live stream earlier, talked about my trip to Prague a little bit. That's okay. It was pretty early for people in the States. It's my European show. It's for us who are in Europe. But I was in Prague for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I didn't get to see as much of the city, hardly anything really. But what I did get to see was lovely, and it reminds me I need to go back to Prague for vacation in the near future. But I did get some more Muka things. I have a Muka mug now that I showed off on the show, and I adore. So that was kind of and also work went really, really well. I had to do I found out in December I needed to put together a lecture on how to make a video tutorial and how to do a webinar, but more from the technical side than the content side. So I used all my YouTube skills and put together like a 3-hour talk and a 1-hour exercise, and by the end, they were making little videos. They were able to record to their own computers. So it was. I had a very successful week, but as a consequence, I had no extra mental capacity to do anything other than show up on Sunday and then talk about quilting. Like that.
So if I challenge your questions about like your worldview of government and stuff like that, you would be like, "Oh, I'm just tired right now."
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Christy, that's not. You're being unfair to yourself. I was there because I'm not on European time. I'm on Wisconsin time.
You're in farmer time.
I don't sleep. No.
Okay.
No, I don't sleep.
You wait.
All right. So for the Europeans and insomniacs.
Yeah.
In North America.
Yeah.
Well, the one time I did show up in a live. Well, no, the other time I was like up until like 5 a.m. So that's why I was in a live chat that one time. But the other time, though, the last time, I was just like, no, I want to wake up at 3 a.m. so I can be in the live chat to like ask questions. But that is me. But hey, I'm up already, so I can do work on my YouTube stuff. And I did actually finish a video that day, I think. Anyway,
Of course. Christy talks about being so busy and not being able to put out content. Right now, I have about 20 hours in my YouTube queue. I think it was last weekend or maybe 2 weekends ago. I had 20 hours in my queue, and then because of stuff between Steve and Christy, I had 31 hours that Monday morning. And I've only just gotten back down to 20 hours. And then, of course, I wake up having seen Christy done 2 hours and 5 minutes of something that I have to watch now. So, I don't know where she's finding this time, but I barely have enough time to keep up with her.
You guys are funny. It's not that hard to just show up. That's it's hard to do proper videos right now. I think that's more what I mean. Although when I do a live show, I do try to do some prep beforehand. I don't just get on there and talk crap. A little bit I do. But yeah.
Well, it is your show, so you're allowed to talk a little bit of crap. But then again, you're right. We kind of expect you to not to
entertain you.
Us, yes, or educate us. You definitely educated me.
Oh, that's nice.
You two MO is just get on on there and talk crap about anything that you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to go against type.
Come on, it's not like a YouTube live stream unless we do not talk gossip about other YouTubers. Apparently, that's what I've been told.
Oh, but I did also on the weekend. Another reason why I didn't make content was because I was catching up on podcasts for the happy hour. Because then I have to go to Kevin's channel, download the audio, and then save it over to Dropbox, and then from podcast, link the Dropbox file, and then put in the metadata, and then schedule it. So that took me like 4 hours yesterday to do all of that. Whew. So I'm working for you guys, even if I'm not making videos.
I think the king would be able to do that.
Kevin, I had to like get out. I'm like, Kevin, you told me in August you're going to pay me for your half of the podcast, and it's now January, and you still no. I mean, he just forgets. But no, if you left that stuff to Kevin, it would never get done. I'm just happy he got a mic stand.
Yeah, he has a very impressive mic as well now. Yes.
Yeah, it looks much better. It sounds better.
Remember, it's good to be the king.
Yes.
Yeah, and the other grand addition of YouTube, really low tech.
Unless you live in France.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You won't need a hat then.
Yeah, or occasionally in Britain, England.
Luckily, he's in the UK, so they still rock with the monarchy.
Yeah. You can give driver's license to guys who run their cars off the road. If you're Prince Philip.
Yeah.
He looks like a zombie now. Like I know he's almost 100 years old, but like, yeah, he does look like a zombie. Sort of.
Yeah, I don't think his reflexes are quite what they were. But she's a queen. What are you gonna do? Like, tell her no? Your husband can't have a driver's license? Go on.
Every time I think about no, you go ahead.
Didn't she used to drive trucks during the war or something?
The queen did, yes. She was a mechanic.
Okay.
But it's my experience that men of that generation threatening to take away their driver's license is like threatening to castrate them. So that's like the upstairs neighbor. The day before his 80th birthday party, he wanted to go fill up his car, and well, he ended up on the other side of town, on the company area of a large German automobile producer, and had driven his car on the tracks of the factory railway.
Yikes.
Oh boy.
Yes.
I should probably point out that Prince Philip was kind of castrated a long time ago when they told him, we're not putting your name on the royal house of this. It's going to stay Windsor. It's not going to be your name. So
yeah.
So that was like 1947. So that happened a long time.
Man, try with that to Trump. No, you cannot put your name on this tower. Why not? I got Trump towers all over the world. Why can't I have my name on it? You're not going to do that.
Have most people here seen The Queen, the film with Helen Mirren?
I have not. No, I heard
no.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that the way they portrayed their relationship between Philip and Elizabeth, I mean, it's interesting because, they come from a generation where men rule the house, but she's his queen. So the character walks this very interesting line, I thought, in his dialogues with her and giving his opinion and when she would make decisions and her having the final say. I just, and they reference her being a mechanic when her car gets, the axle gets caught up on a rock or something when she's trying to cross a river. But if you have a chance to see it, do. It's a very good movie. It's a very good movie.
Yeah.
I should see more movies. Yes.
Do you have Netflix? Do you have Netflix?
Yeah, I do have Netflix. Have
just stop watching anime all the time. Try something else, just for a change of pace. And it is on Netflix.
For a while.
Do you want to kill anime, Jonathan? I heard you just say something about not reading books, but I just finished the deluxe edition of Ghost in the Shell, which is very interesting because it's so different from the anime.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets a lot deeper into Shintoism. I didn't realize how deep they got into that, but it was definitely a learning experience. And of course, having to read right to left, even though it's translated into English, having to change your head around to read in the opposite direction.
Man.
And
those books are beautiful. Can you show the individual ones?
They are amazing. The artwork in this, and I think most of the artwork was done in the late 80s, early 90s, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But like here is, and I know it's dark in my room, and this camera I'm using is great. But this is a picture of Batu in one of the books, and it's just amazing. You know, you got the major on the front.
Major Makoto Kusanagi.
But yeah, this is the first book where the artwork isn't quite as great as it is in the second, but something like that.
Yep, it's really cool. And also, the Major has a personality, more of a personality in the manga as opposed to like the any of the adaptations. She actually like makes a face or something like that, like going yeah to like.
That's the other thing. It was like all the character faces, because you know in the anime they're very straight and strict about the animation. Yeah, that's a good word for it. But in the book, it's almost kid-like in some of the. Every so often, there'll be a frame where everyone has that kid face, where they're like excited about something or scared of something or something like that. Yeah, Jonathan knows all the words that I don't.
But hey, this is the first time where someone else brought up anime and not me.
I was just excited because I had literally just finished this morning before right after breakfast and before I got on the show here. So.
Yeah.
In some respects, it's almost like they can do more with manga as an art form versus the anime.
Like, I was going to say he actually brought up manga, Jonathan, not anime.
Correct.
True.
But it's related to the anime show, and I've enjoyed the anime show, but it was finally getting to read the original was very nice.
No, I'm just being mean to Jonathan because he likes it.
Now, speaking of Netflix, has anyone watched Bandersnatch yet?
No, but should we?
If you have Netflix, and you have to have a compatible device, so like a Roku or something like that, because not all Netflix compatible devices can watch it because it is interactive. You make choices as the show goes on. So it is literally a choose your own adventure book.
It's like a fire game, right? Like so, it's like an interactive movie. Okay.
Yeah, so it's from Cory Booker, the Black Mirror people, and supposedly there are 12 different endings, and so far I found 4 of them. I've been making an org chart showing the different choices you make and where it lands you. So
nerd.
This might be a U.S. only thing. I don't know if they have that. Feature in European devices yet. I mean, I'll check it out, but it's not something I've even seen as a possibility for mine.
I know some people in the UK who have watched different endings, so I guess in the UK at least they have it.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure US and UK have it. I don't know about the rest of the world.
Well, it is a Netflix thing, so
it's Netflix. And Netflix is always an interesting company because they have no infrastructure whatsoever. Their whole big thing is their programming, their technology, their software. So they literally had to rewrite their software to make the interactive features work, and it's still. This is like I'm guessing their first time, and it's still a little clunky in places, but it's still neat to see. And a couple of the interactions are kind of interesting when you make your choices. So it's a good first step. It needs a lot of work, but I do recommend it if you're into Black Mirror. 2, want to relive your childhood doing choose your own adventure, or like me, or a completist and are trying to find all the different endings.
Well, I cannot just say sorry that I find myself watching Let's Plays with no commentaries for video games that have really good storylines, and so part of the reason I don't buy the units is because I have no gaming skills. Like my hands just don't know I don't have any of that, like muscle memory.
Yeah.
But I enjoy the stories. They're fascinating. There are really sometimes really great stories out there. And so having something like Netflix is almost bridging that, turning, gaming into a very basic form of interacting with a story to alter it in a way that you could in a video game, which is really, really cool.
Well, there is like a kind of like these just genre of games that like some people say, is that really games called visual novels and stuff like that? Now, yes, people know of like the porn versions, but there's been several visual novels that are just adventure games or just an interactive novel. You are just reading text on the screen, or you have voiceovers for the characters, and then you're given like it is a choose your own adventure, but in like a digital interactive format of like you get the couple of choices and then you go through the choices. So seeing that like this Black Mirror, the Bandersnatch being like instead of framed as like it's a game or visual novel you buy off Steam or download or something like that, instead it is something you watch but you must interact too. So it's like it's a television production, but you got choices in the matter. So that's kind of interesting because I'm hearing what Matthew's describing with Bandersnatch, and I'm thinking this is just a visual novel that Netflix has put out, but probably with like a much better budget and stuff like that. So yeah.
It's like the evolution of those old VCR board games from like back in the 80s and early 90s.
Exactly. Or like when the Sega CD, and like it came out, the full motion videos and stuff like that, like Night Trap.
What was it called? Dragon's Tail, or what was that video game that had?
All the Don Bluth games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dragon's Lair.
Dragon's Lair, yeah. But I mean, I think because things that are plot line and storyline, you're right, it's a mode of delivery, like in a book or in a movie or in a video game. But because of the internet, is now everything is becoming digital. We see digitized text, and there's digital audio and digital film clips or whatever else. It's all kind of starting to blend in a really interesting way.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I can like when everyone says, "Is that real game?" and something like that for visual novels. I like the term interactive entertainment. I just like go like that, and I'm not a stickler for what is not a video game, what is a video game, because that can sometimes go into like gatekeeping like territory. It's just like it's like, and now
elitism, I guess, is that the term you're looking for? Maybe. Like there's that elitism in the game community.
Yes.
Games on phones are casual trash, or
exactly.
Yeah. First person shooters are a game, but
that's half the gamer gators.
Yep, exactly.
I play MMOs, RPGs, and I play Candy Crush. Both are video games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, agreed. Pokemon Go is a video game. Yeah.
See, my problem is I haven't progressed beyond the NES time period, so
that's why
stuff. I've managed to get a NES Classic, and I'm terrible. I am terrible at those games.
They made those games intentionally hard to make them longer.
Yes,
that's why they're like that. Not because they're hardcore, it's because they wanted them to,
It's also a transition period from the arcades where they want you to put in the quarters and stuff like that into the NES, where you have like 3 lives and a health bar and stuff like that, and you just have to get good and memorize these patterns in order to get through that one freaking level in Ninja Gaiden. That stupid eagle. Anyway.
No, now games want you to finish them.
I remember the first time, the only console I ever had was a Game Boy when I was really young. I never had the NES. I never had the SNES or any of those consoles. I had a Game Boy. And I remember after having had that Game Boy for like 3 or 4 years, I finally finished, what was it, Super Mario Land, their port of Super Mario Brothers. I finally finished it on my own. I didn't need a Game Genie to finish the thing. Oh, I have a white one, the original one. It's up.
Yeah, I still have
in the black case up on the shelf over there.
I still got mine too. Yeah, I've got those ones like the Game Boy Color, and then the whole like line up until even now.
I got the SP. Maybe what was it, 15 years ago when those things came out. So I have some of those games. But yeah, the first time I finished Super Mario Land was like, that's the only game I've done beginning to end on my own. Now, of course, I had to learn to do it by using the Game Genie, to figure out how parts of it worked. But I was able to disconnect the Game Genie and play it and make it.
And Super Mario Land is actually, I don't think it's like a port of like Super Mario Brothers. It's more of his own game, but it's the exact same kind of like gameplay style.
It has mechanics that weren't in, like you like are in vehicles, and there's some other
like that. And actually, you got.
At least it's not like Super Mario 2, which is not even a Mario game. It was they just
originally, anyways. It wasn't. It's called
they just put the Mario sprites over some other characters.
Yeah, exactly. The Lost Levels did eventually got released on the Super Mario All-Star Collection for the Super Nintendo. And the reason why we got that game in America instead of like the original Super Mario Bros. 2, The Lost Levels, is because Shigeru Miyamoto was just not happy with the final product of that. So then they just took the whole other game and swapped the sprites and stuff like that. But that still is a fine game as well. I don't care if it's not real Super Mario Brothers; it's still a fine game.
It's like different enough from the other ones, though. I guess to make
exactly.
It
oh, Zelda 2 was also different enough from the Zelda game as well.
Yeah, side-scrolling.
Yeah, side-scrolling, and it was a true RPG, true role-playing game because you have the experience point system. All the other games are just adventure games in the fantasy setting, unless they have like experience points system, kind of like that.
So the thing I remember about Zelda, speaking of my childhood, was my cousin had left his NES at my grandmother's house one summer, and my grandmother would play Zelda for 15 minutes a day, only 15 minutes a day. She kept herself to a time period, but by the end of the summer, she had gone through the entire game.
Now, did she play a new game, but this time titled the character Zelda instead of like anything else and stuff like that, and get the second quest, because there is a much more difficult version of that game where all the dungeon locations are in different locations, and the items are in different locations. It's much tougher.
I doubt it, but I've heard about that. And then, of course, when I got the NES Classic, I was playing Zelda, and I realized, why is this so hard? I don't remember this being so hard as a kid. And then I realized I don't have that pull-out map.
Yeah.
So I went on Etsy. So I'm right now waiting for someone to send me this nice printout of that pull-out map that I don't have, because everything's digital now. So I'm waiting for like a big map to come. So.
And see, I would just go to GameFAQs and I'll find like a JPEG of like that map and being able to do it. Yeah, but I don't know what you mean.
That would be on screen, and the biggest print I have access to is 11 by 17, and I don't want it on screen. I want this 3 foot by 5 foot map that I could like hang on the wall.
And then you can mark it of all the locations.
Yes, because right now I get through like 3 of the windows and I'm done. It's like, where is everything? So
now the games I grew up on were like Pong and Pitfall, Frogger, Centipede. Well, of course, Miss Pac-Man. That was huge. That was my favorite.
We used to actually have an arcade in my little rural town, and my favorite game was Spy Hunter, because it had the wheel and everything.
Yeah.
What was the theme Spy Hunter? I don't know that one.
You're in a car, and it's like the James Bond car, because you can do oil slicks and you've got guns in the front and all this other stuff. And basically, you're trying to shoot down your enemies while driving at high speeds through the middle of the city, the middle of the country. The car turns into a boat, so you're going up a river.
That sounds awesome.
And I think what was the background was the Peter Gunn theme, right? Dun, 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 dun.
They couldn't afford the James Bond theme.
the Atari days back that's when that was.
We had Atari 2600, and so we had those paddles where it's just like it's 2 controllers with a wheel and then just one button that plugs into just one controller port. So with only the 2 controller ports on the Atari 2600, if you got 2 sets of paddles, then I grew up with 3 brothers, so all 4 of us can play like warlords at the same time on the same screen, and didn't have to like fight over like who gets to play and who doesn't get to play and stuff like that. So that was awesome. But then also for the NES, we eventually did get like the 4 controller port adapter, so because the multi port, and so that 4 of us can play a game that support that, like Gauntlet 2. And we played with our mom too, because she loved that game too.
Yeah, and then Mario and Sonic, and then started getting into more like computer-based games like Civ. And what was the one with Command and Control? Is that what it's called? Command and Conquer. Yeah, I played a lot of that. And SimCity.
Yeah. Oh yes, of course, SimCity.
I remember the SimCity, because I played SimCity 2000. I think 3000 was just before I kind of stopped. Oh, and there was a very Oh man, there was a game back in the late '90s, and the theme song was Mars from Holt's Planets. And in fact, the original version of the game, if you stuck this game CD into a music CD player, it would play out the Mars theme. What was that called? It was like Earth was dying, and you had to like shoot yourself off into another star system. Oh man, that's gonna bother me now.
I'm looking it up, but no, actually a lot of those. Okay,
it's called Outpost.
But even for like a CD-ROM game, so that's for PC and stuff like that. Some of those that like you can like actually put them in the CD player, and then there's tracks to it, and so the CD player will play those tracks off those CD-ROMs. And sometimes they will put a little bonus stuff, like for Warcraft 2, the Black Portal, the expansion. There is a song at the end of it that was a bit of a what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Why do you keep on touching me? Because in the game you can like click on your units, but if you click on them often enough, eventually they will say something else. Like one of the knights is like, yes. What do you want? Why do you keep on touching me? and some dice will put in like references, like the peasants. What do you want? Why are you doing this? And then eventually you'll say, help! I'm being repressed.
Very good. Very good. Yes. But what about current games? Do you guys play anything currently? Like I said, I do. Sometimes I'll put on a Let's Watch at the end of the night. Like I don't want to start a movie, but I want something that's like 9 hours long. I'll find one of those. Like the Stanley Parable. Stanley Parable is a great game. I'm sorry, Tim, you were saying?
I stay pretty current. I buy like even like what's coming out. Oh yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3. It's a long-awaited game, and there's I've got other stuff coming out next month, and I'm actually in a competition with my friends to see who can complete the most games in this calendar year. So I just started weeks ago, and I've already done 4.
Well, the thing is, like, if the only goal is completion, you can always go with the short games, and just like, hey, look at all these games.
Well, it has some rules, of course. Like, it has to be like more than 8 hours, like, and it can just be the main story. So, but he's like, oh, we can have like what he called 5 indie games. Like, I mean, the person who's running this, because there's like a game master or whatever you want to call it, but just like the administrator of it, and so he drafted the rules, and everybody said, yeah, we agree to it. And then there's a first and second place prize, so it's not like you have to get first place to win something at least. So it's good on that end as well. And I have enough time to do it, so without like ruining my life or whatever. But so yeah, I think I'm tied with for first place right now, because there's one other guy that has completed 4 at least. Yes, we have to show like a screenshot of like the ending credits.
Which is how you had to used to do it before achievements came around. You had to have like take a Polaroid of like standing there waving to you, saying job complete or something like that, or congratulations, you completed the game.
Yeah, what I do is I always like shoot it through like my Twitter account, because that way I'm like, oh, then you'll know it's legit. I'm not just like taking a picture of it, because I'm uploading it from, because it always hashtags whatever system you're saying it from, because like where it says hashtag PS4 share, or then hashtag Nintendo Switch, or hashtag Xbox, whatever. So it kind of they know, right?
Yeah, it's like an authentication stamp.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that seems fair as a basis for establishing authenticity.
The share function on those consoles. No, you continue. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say I would let anyone, or encourage anyone, to just watch the first 20 minutes of Red Dead Redemption 2 on No Commentary Let's Play, and tell me that it's not as compelling as any story you're going to find on Netflix. It's as good. And some of the voice actors too. I recognized one of the guys. I don't know if you guys have seen the series. It's the Wild West one with Ian McShane. Deadwood.
Deadwood? Yeah, okay.
Okay, the guy who's like the bartender toady guy. I recognized his voice. I'm like, that sounds like the guy from Deadwood. And I looked it up on IMDb because they all get voice credits, and yeah, he's on there. So there's some pretty high quality voice actors working on these games as well.
Yeah, I'm currently murdering my way through ancient Greece.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed.
Odyssey, yeah.
Yes.
I love the Assassin's Creed series.
Yeah.
I have over like 900 games on my Steam account, and it's like, but where do I dedicate my time? It's like it could be here, and stuff like that. So I was like, and I also have the nasty habits, like, man, it's all these games that I now have. Like, what should I try? What should I play? I'll play Skyrim for the 500th time.
Yeah, there's something like that. It's called the Steam paradox, where the games are all cheap, and people buy them all the time, but they can never play them all because they have so many.
Yeah,
so
that sounds like a good problem for Steam to have.
Oh yeah,
yes.
But Steam is now full of crap because they
Yeah.
they let anyone
yeah,
asset flips
asset
and
flip games. Yeah,
yeah. Jim Sterling has covered
yeah, I watched
that
Jim Sterling a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank God for him. But even Garrett said that like Jim Stearns is the best liberal there is, because he's always just like focused on the video game industry because that's his wheelhouse. But he always sees a lot of problems with like the corporations of EA and Warner Brothers Interactive and Activision Blizzard, and is constantly criticizing them for their business practices that are greatly affecting like the consumers. Loot boxes, microtransactions, pre-order culture, stuff like that. They just want money and want all of the money in the world. And as Jim Stearns would say, and because he's very crude on his channel, they want to fuck his cake and eat it too.
Like he said that like eventually the governments would step in if the loot box gambling thing wasn't self-regulated by the game industry. So that's what happened, because all these countries are like Belgium. It was legal now, and they're so.
Yep.
He has foresight, it seems. In some ways.
Yeah, if you don't self-regulate, some external force will come in and regulate you.
You can accept a reasonable solution now, or you'll get an unreasonable solution later.
Yeah, you can do a reasonable solution on your terms, or you can have it imposed from the outside on someone else's.
Oh, I know. Like Ed did in the live chat just also mentioned that like Jim Stearns said trans rights on the H-Bomber Guy stream, because Jim Stearns popped in that epic H-Bomber Guy's charity stream as well.
Cool.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know if everybody knows this, but he is a gay man, right? So he's sensitive to that kind of.
He's queer. He said he's queer. Yeah.
So he will talk about politics sometimes, but not
yes,
and especially with his game commentary. So.
But also, he was one of those like he wasn't like one of the literally huge targets of the Gamergate sort of thing, but he was one of those co-conspirators, those writers that like he's one of those SJWs, and his opinion about like that it's just nothing but boiled piss. And 255 AD has pointed out that he is bi, and so yeah,
always bi. Okay.
He said he was square, so yeah, exactly.
I guess it's the same difference at the end of the day, right? He still seems he talks. I mean, when he talks about it, he seems like that he's more on the I like men side of the spectrum, but
he's not hetero, so he's not hetero, so that's the thing. Yeah,
I didn't know that he identified as bi. I thought he was just Well,
255 AD said that he's bi, so I believe him.
I guess so. It makes sense. Ugly bar, so.
Anyway,
chat.
And Adam Rainsdoctor said it a couple of times, or like the most recent one is like Mariana's Johnny Split is almost done.
Oh, what are you knitting?
Oh, I'm making socks. The first one looks like this.
Cool.
Ooh.
Yep, that's the beauty of self-striping yarn. And it's a special kind of yarn where they make it so that you have two identical socks.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you get that from? Where do you buy it from?
The shop.
Well, is it a specialty shop, or is it like
a regular yarn shop?
Okay. That's cool.
A lot of brands do the self-striping and identical yarns.
I'm sorry.
They're called regular perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I assume the self-striping requires you use a specific size. So what about those of us with feet of non-standard size? Can you get the yarn to match?
Depends. I think the skins are made for up to size Europe 45. No idea what that's in American.
That's big, very big.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, it's like a size 11 or a 10 probably for
45 is like I'm a 37 and my foot is a little less than 30 centimeters. So I guess 45 is at least 5 centimeters bigger.
Well, I don't think that helps the Americans at all.
So 35 centimeters is, I don't know in inches, 13 inches maybe.
Yeah, so I don't know. There might be a conversion size in shoes. Maybe the chat can check on online for.
I'm just trying to think because like having lived in Europe and having like lived here, like I have shoes that have both on them, and I'm thinking like I wear usually 11 or 12 in our system.
I'm checking right now.
And I wear like a 46, I think, or a 45 in.
Why do Americans have to be so difficult?
Surprisingly enough, eBay actually has a conversion chart for shoe sizes.
Like, Christy, like
45
you use that system too for shoes, right? So
it's size 12.
Size 12. Okay, so that's what I wear is a size 12. So I wear 45 or 46 usually.
A men's 12.
So
Yeah,
13, men's 13.
Men's 13 is 47.
Yeah, men's 12 was like 46 or 45, depending on.
The shoe.
Or, so I'm an 11 in some shoes, and I'm a 12 in some other shoes.
Yeah, I mean that's just because it's like women in jeans. You can be an 8 in one brand and a 10 in another brand.
So some
they
shoes
cut
are
them
wider,
different.
some shoes are long, depending on.
Yeah.
The shoe.
What 8 and 10? What is it in
that would
normal
be like
size?
Like a 14 and a 16 or a 12 and a 14. Like it's just one size difference, but sometimes the cut.
No, I mean the equivalent in European sizes.
Yeah, I think the States are. I think it's pretty close. But trying to. Sorry, maybe that eBay chart has some women's clothing too. I think like a 14 in Europe is like a 12 in America. I think it's slightly smaller.
No, we don't have those sizes.
14 doesn't exist in Europe.
Oh, you mean 45? Okay, I'm thinking of British. Sorry, you mean like a 45 or a 40 or something like that. Sorry.
Yes.
I guess a 40 would probably be like a 14. A 40 in Europe would be like a 14 in the UK, which I think would be a 12 in the States.
Okay, so average.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah. Well, that would. Yeah. I think so though, but I'm doing this from memory, so and I don't really go clothes shopping. I usually buy like M or L.
The link in the chat.
Okay.
In our group chat.
Hangout chat.
And we're joined by Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Bruce. The fun thing about shoes is if I buy normal leather shoes in a normal shoe store, I have size 39. If I go and buy sneakers, I need to buy size 40. And my hiking boots and my are size 41 for some reason.
That I have the exact same problem where my dress shoes are half a size smaller than my sneakers.
I think it's the case for everyone. I have the same issue.
I mean, my older brother has like similar length of feet that I do, but his feet are much wider. So sometimes he has to go to like a 12 instead of 11 or something like that, or go up a shoe size just so that.
So Christy, just a 40 in Europe is a 12 in the UK and a 10 in the US.
So it was off. I said 14 and 12, but it was 12 and 10.
Yeah.
I was pretty close though. But close only counts.
Sometimes
that was my size before I took on 20 kilos.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they have something called like a wide version of it. So you have like 11W, which is
there's some 11W.
So they can have the same shoe size they have long, but in a certain shoe size they have like a wide version, just to get a little bit more room.
And you guys don't have to deal with the fucking bras.
Bras are evil.
Yeah, because those fuckers.
Some men probably should wear a bra at certain points in their life.
I'm talking about you guys, the guys in the
us
in the hangout presently.
But there's some people in my family who they've got pretty big man boobs, if you want to put it like that.
Man racks.
Yeah,
Kramer had a thing about that on Seinfeld, didn't he? He's like, it's not a bra, it's a bro. Yeah, the man's ear.
Yeah, but they wear like stuff that look like binders, no? Not.
It looked like an old school bra from like the 30s or 40s or something like that. Kind of.
I like those. I want one like that.
With the pointy nipples?
Yeah, because they don't have the wires and the stuff. They're so comfy.
They were more, I think, like functional too. They gave more support.
I saw something advertised that was basically like a hammock for each boob, and it went around the back of your neck.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my neck.
Yeah, it would depend on the cup size there.
Yeah, because with my cup size, that would be hell.
Right. I think anything over a D, and you probably just need to leave that alone.
Honestly, anything over A, I think.
I don't know, do you even need a broad A? I think you passed the pencil test at A.
When I was A, I needed bras sometime to go to the doctor and physiotherapy.
My mom got me a bra when I was at A, but it was a training bra. Like, why do you need training on a bra? Seriously, why do we have that for girls?
Yeah, I never really got the idea behind that. Like, you put it on, isn't that all the training you need?
Exactly. Just like, here's how you unfasten it with one hand behind your back. Now, see how many men in your life will ever be able to do the same.
No, that's why I should give myself a bra to practice that.
And a mannequin.
No, wait, isn't the training bra just to so your body gets used to it?
It's to sell a product before a girl needs it, I think.
You do dirty capitalists. Oh my God, capitalism ruins everything.
They frame it as a kind of ritual of, like when you first get your period, it's like a ritual of puberty. And I think people just bought into that commercialism, but there's no practical reason for a training bra. You don't need a bra until you start bouncing around.
I haven't heard of anything like a training jockstrap. So.
No, exactly. This is a pink tax. It's a pink tax.
It should be called a starter bra, because isn't it? It is in reality, because it's like the first.
It's a bra for before you have boobs.
Yeah, to get them to grow. Like
unless
a chia pet, a starter.
That's so fucking weird.
Unless you're an early developer.
No, this is a joke. But they do have training bras. I don't know if they still do, but I had one.
So a couple things from the live chat. Okay, far earlier in the live chat, I'm sorry, Adam. I did ruin it for you. He was hoping that Mariana was rolling the split. It's much better in imagination in his mind. Okay. Anime Receptor also surprised to what you said, Christy, or what someone said. No, he should not get a mannequin. It's like, okay, I'll just use my chair to practice like unhooking a bra with one hand. I'm
just gonna pip up here to say that it really does kill a moment when you're making out with someone and then he starts fumbling around the back of your bra, and like that becomes everybody's focus, and finally you just have to reach back and do it yourself. Like, just practice, guys. Practice drunk.
Or use your two hands, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, but the one-handed reach behind, that's pretty sexy.
But
never gonna work right. I kind of get with I get what you're saying, Chrissy. I kind of get with this method where what I would do was like I would pull back off her back with like one hand, and then kind of like just sort of with my left hand like just do it like really quickly. So
you need to basically kind of like pull the straps together to create a bit of a gloop area, an area where you can then just slide the wire hooks apart. That's it. You just,
I learned how to pull my hands together like really quickly and like towards each other, and that would usually get it really fast. So I couldn't do it with one hand. I tried. I have like my arms are too long.
Well, put on yourself. And then just practice getting it off and just say, I'm not going to get this off until I do it one-handed behind my back. Because if you can do it behind your own back, you'll be able to do it behind someone else's.
My problem is there's always like 2 of the hooks will come off and the third one won't.
Yeah, that takes a little bit of practice. One, you have to know it's wide enough. So a smaller width means only 2 hooks. A wider one, because like maybe you have a bigger bra or whatever, requires then firmness in the middle as well. So you need a consistent pressure across the strap that hooks the 2 parts together.
Welcome to the Christy teaches you how to unstrap a bra. Hangout.
Do a video on this.
Yeah, there's a video.
You need
force.
Viral. You need a quick and equally trying to force going in both directions, and that will get it.
Don't just use the top of your thumb, because then the bottom one will stay.
No,
stuck.
I would literally with all my fingers just then just sort of if you're trying to slap something with 2 hands, but with and then
2 hands. Okay, 1 hand with your pointer finger and your thumb. That's all you need.
I need diagrams and a manual.
Men can go to the moon. You figured that out in the 1960s. You still can't figure out how to unhook a bra with 1 hand.
Right. Some people don't believe that.
To be fair, all the calculations to go to the moon were done by women. So
true. And women can unhook their own bras with 1 hand. So
I'm trying to remember back far enough, but I don't remember. I don't remember that being an issue because I was not at all focused on that. On the mechanics of it. I was much more interested in the outcome.
Yeah, that's the problem. See, we know that, Tom. We know that as women, and it distracts us.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Well, I always carried a little pair of blunt play scissors, and that seemed to.
I hope you had
one-handed.
A bra fund after.
Well, certainly.
Godsend is actually those bras that open from the front. Those are
the front-loaded ones, yes.
Guys prefer those. Yeah, I know you guys. Those are your favorites.
Those are so far in between. I've rarely come
across. That's because the support is terrible.
Yeah.
The support is absolutely terrible.
But it's like opening up a present.
We might as well use Velcro. We might as well use Velcro at that point.
I think my wife owns one out of her entire collection is the front opening kind.
Does anyone know there's a guy who made a video that's called Confession, and the first verse, it's a song. The first verse, he goes on about feminism and stuff like that, and the chorus is but fuck, I love boobs though.
Yeah, that was Tim Minchin.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, at the end he has a line that says from the first little sip of colostrum, which I guess is the pre-milk stuff, to trying to grab a nurse's ass in the old people's home. We're just fucking monkeys in shoes. And I love boobs. To Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You. Yeah.
No, okay. I will always love boobs. I love that guy. Anyone should watch that, especially if you like boobs.
Also,
what's the name of the song?
It's called Confessions in 3 Parts by Tim Minchin. The other thing about that is, unfortunately, I watched it back a couple years ago, and I wanted to see it again more recently. And now, on that last bit when he goes, and I will always love boobs, he has to do a little voiceover where he explains for copyright purposes he can't allow that part of the song to be aired anymore. So, unfortunately, you have to kind of do it in your mind.
I found a video without that.
Oh, that's good. Well, it must be a copy of the original, not his channel's version. But yeah.
No, it was not his channel version. Right.
And this all started with a sock.
Yeah, I had to the knitting. I thought on a doorknob, on some other kind of knob. What is he talking about?
It was from the live chat. It's a couple of things from the live chat. Sir Toby said that hey, Chrissy Withers, bras are a manifestation of patriarchal capitalism. Ditched all of them, which is but then.
But fuck, I love boobs though.
Yes. And a Rain's doctor apparently said, like, I understand how it works and can very easily do one-handed, but practice on a mannequin seems really creepy. Oh, talking about, like, practicing to take one off, like, on a mannequin. So, yes, if I do buy a bra, I would put on myself and practice there, because, yes, I can reach back there, and if I can, like, take my own bra off with one-handed, then, yeah, I can do it with someone else.
Exactly.
But Anne Marisa says I can open those. I think he's talking about the front loaders or something like that. I can open those with my mouth. So.
Those are easy, right? I know there was this scene this one time where they had this like contest where they had like 4 or 5 girls, and the guy had to like whoever can get all the bras off the fastest, like with the one hand method, and that was the whole contest. So they like go like the mechanics of it, right? Like the physics, like from like it was so funny. Like they put so much thought into this, like this getting a bra off. It was so funny.
And yet I saw that in a Monty Python sketch, the upper class twit of the year. That was one of the like things they had to do in the absolute course, like remove a bra off the mannequin, but just remove it at all, because they also had like jump over like a row of matchsticks boxes.
Right.
There was this German show called Wetten, dass? Have you heard of it, Christy?
No. What was it again?
Wetten, dass. It's
Bet on this?
Yes, Bet on this. And it was moderated by Thomas Gottschalk for a very long time. And basically people from Austria, Germany, and the German part of Switzerland would write in with bets. And what they could do. And celebrity guests would then have to bet, yeah, they can do that. And no, I don't believe that he can do that. And some of the bets were interesting, like 100 railway workers saying we can push a diesel engine faster from a dead stop to 10 meters than the diesel engine can start by itself. And the guys did it.
I can believe that, yeah.
Push start a train.
Yeah.
100 of them.
Yeah.
It's so long as like spread out amongst enough like participants and stuff like that. It's not it's not one person pushing all that weight of that train. No, it's spread out. So it's divided by 100. So you only have to push much as much. Yes. And the diesel engine has to like warm up, has to like do this, because that engine is has a bunch of controlled explosions in there, so it has to warm up. So it makes total sense for the 100 people to be able to push it, because their engines are already going.
Yes, exactly. And
was the engine running or stopped when they did this?
It was already running, but to get it up to speed, it takes a while.
It has to transfer the power. It has to, get in gear.
Yeah.
Well, in America, engines are diesel electric, so there's no gears. Well, only between the engine and the generator.
Well, anyway, what I wanted to say, and one time there was a bet where a guy said, I can unhook 100 bras in under 2 minutes.
That's about...
one every 2.4 seconds?
A little bit more than a
second bra. 1.2 seconds for each bra at least.
Yeah. And I think
and did he do it?
He did it, yes.
Wow.
I wonder how often that would come up in real life.
That would be a sun party.
It's good to be the king.
Except in France.
Right.
So I was when I was at university, I did not take part in this. I heard about it the next day. But apparently, so we were at this sort of like student convention, like not convention, but a bunch of people went out like to do politics and stuff. They're hanging out, and we different states all came together, delegations and stuff. And we were all staying in similar hotels, and we were having fun and partying. And the next day, apparently, somebody walked into like one of the hotel rooms where they were having a party, and everyone in the room was naked. They just sat there completely naked, still having a party, drinking, or whatever, but everyone was just naked. And they're like, what's going on in here? And they went, well, we decided to have a naked party. And like, well, do I have to be naked to join the party? I'm like, no, it's fine. You can just come in. So they sat down, and then slowly the person said that everything kind of changed after they entered the room. And what kind of happened was people were partying in the room. There was a vibe, whatever. And someone was like, I'm going to take off my shirt, whatever. It got to be a naked party. And everyone was just chill with it until someone with clothes entered the room. And then as soon as they entered the room and everybody else was naked, they kind of realized, oh shit, I'm naked.
So just to be clear, this wasn't an orgy, right? It was just
no. It was just a naked party.
Okay.
And no, it was definitely not an orgy. But I just thought the psychology, the sort of group psychology of that moment was particularly interesting.
Was there like dancing, or was it just a group of people sitting around having a chat?
I had a feeling it was a bit more intimate, like, sitting around. There might have been music playing. I don't really know. I wasn't there. But my sense of it was like they were just sort of sitting on things or lounging around being naked.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's nudist beaches and nudist places, something like that, where it's like, just because they're naked doesn't mean they start having orgies and stuff like that, which is why... which is why...
And we're talking about a bunch of progressive, lefty, really far left kind of people in the 1990s. So, it wasn't like it was a church camp or anything. But, so in terms of experiences, people were open to it. But
yeah, because church camp would have been an orgy.
Right.
Have you ever been to a German sauna, Christy?
Oh, I love the saunas. Yeah, I would have a hard time going back to the States now because I just want to get out of my suit and be like, I want to be free and run around. Yeah, I love the sauna system here.
When I was living in Korea, they have something called a jinja bong, and it's basically like spots for men and women that and everybody's completely naked. It's like hundreds of people in this huge area. Now, of course, they have the men in one area and the women in the other area. It's not like it's just communal thing, right? But
Germans mix. I mean, not like the bathrooms,
Korea, right? So
the changing rooms are basically just open areas where you walk in and out, and people are getting undressed and dressed.
Mm-hmm. And the saunas itself are nude.
Yeah, well, I mean, with a towel, obviously, because the wood's really hot.
Yes, towels.
I mean, HK in the chat says Christy and her experiments.
Yeah.
And this was in the United States when this happened to you, Christy, right?
When the naked party happened at the college thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah, but I wasn't there. I mean, but I was at the event, like the gathering or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have a question for.
I mean, if it was at a naked party, I'd say I don't
group.
give a shit about that.
That's only tangentially related, but in movies and TV shows, I often see people sleeping with socks on.
Yeah,
that's fucking weird. Do you
Why?
sleep with socks on?
I don't.
Have you ever lived through a Wisconsin winter?
Well, yeah.
I mean,
I wonder sometimes when you say that, I wonder there was sort of a trope in early porn where men would take off everything except their socks.
I'm not talking about porn. I'm talking about.
No, I understand. I'm just
movies and TV shows, the mainstream stuff.
I understand. What I'm saying is, I'm wondering if we're learning something about the filmmakers. Their early inspirations.
I ran across that in my lifetime, but not in the porn context, but in like just like everyday life, where these girls I met would say, "Take your socks off," or make sure you take your socks off. You're getting it. Yeah, so it wasn't. I do recall that in porn. I mean, there's a lot of trends that change. Like, hey, there was lots of fur. Now there's no fur at all, apparently, in adult movies. So, I mean,
I think I remember a comedian addressing this, and he said you have to take off the socks when you take down your trousers. You have to sort of snag them on the way down.
Yep.
That's the time to take the socks off, because otherwise, if you try to do them like before, it's weird, and if you try to do them afterwards, you're already half naked and you're just pulling at your feet. So
there's sort of like a double standard there in a lot of ways, because a lot of men will find it like really attractive when women like wear like keep their pantyhose on, like the single leg ones, like that. For me, I know was exciting.
Well,
I was going to add to that, like the porn that shows the women still wearing stilettos or boots or something like that.
Yeah, like, so there's sort of a double. I'll look at another double standard with men and women, right? Oh my god! But it's just like that. It's in terms of like pornography and also I guess just in general life. There's like the double standard there with the socks.
Well, not
yes
really.
and no.
You don't see women with plain socks in porn.
Yeah, plain socks.
No, no one finds plain socks sexy.
But
on
this is
women.
also, sorry, there is another comedian who addressed this point where when it comes to the stocking, it really depends on where it ends as to whether or not it's sexy. If it ends below the knee, sexy. If it ends above the knee, like mid-thigh, sexy. If it ends on the knee, not sexy.
Yeah.
Knee socks are not sexy when it comes to pantyhose. So but there is this
I
sort of
love knee
aesthetic.
socks. They're my favorite.
There's an aesthetic there that also is operating on maybe a subconscious level. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
Also,
like,
there's such a thing as a shoe fetish. So
yeah, that's true.
Just like Chrissy's point, if you look like the schoolgirl fantasy, a classic male fantasy,
that's so creepy.
Yeah, this is it.
A lot of like because they wear socks right now. If they're up on the thighs or above the knee, then yeah, great. But if they're like below, then that doesn't seem to. It's not quite the same thing. It doesn't excite people as much, I suppose. So the comedian, I think he has a good observation there.
I think yes, yeah, and I think the whole schoolgirl thing is obviously that's when boys become more sexually aware,
Right.
Then then you need to move on to co-eds, but for some reason there's still that sort of attachment to the first.
I'm not saying that that's good or bad. I'm saying like this.
Right.
That goes into like that construction of that fantasy, like that. Like what he said basically is.
Yeah. Right.
Always that kind of socks versus the ones that are on your knees or whatever, or below your knees. So.
Right.
In fact, I like it. Yeah, there's some. That's a lot of results for socks in like Pornhub.
But I'm wearing them to bed at night. Yeah, it's just to keep my feet warm. Sometimes I'll put on 2 layers of socks because I have really bad circulation in my feet, and so I'll have to really warm them up. So I have, I mean, my feet.
You don't have hot water bottles.
Well, yeah, but a hot water bottle has a couple problems. One, it's it's burning hot, if you do it right, and then it fades over time. And then you wake up in the morning.
Now you have the ones with stuff around it, fur and stuffed not stuffed animal. Well, yes, they're stuffed with a hot water bottle.
I use hot water bottles with my socks. I've got I got 2 pairs of socks on and a hot water bottle under me as we speak, and my feet are still cold.
See,
what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, I've got poor circulation or something. I don't know.
I mean, when I was a teenager, I had really, really low blood pressure. And especially when visiting my gran in winter who didn't believe in turning up the heating. So
put on a sweater.
Yeah, but it's really, really not fun when you go to bed and the bed has about 11 C.
Yeah, that's where hot water bottles really come in handy, is warming the bed up
and
before you go to bed.
Of socks and a sweater.
Yeah, with a hood.
Yeah, but these days I'm running really, really hot. So, people.
Yes, you are.
So people are using me as a hot water bottle.
All right.
Because currently it has 17 C in my bedroom, which is lovely, and I still use the thin cotton blanket from summer.
Yeah, I keep mine at about 17 in winter as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm at work, the building that we're in, it's kind of there's always a breeze running through it, a cold breeze. Now it doesn't bother me as much because I'm one of the people that is like naturally hot all the time. But some of my people, my friends at work, they are just freezing because they're always cold because and there's not much we can do about it because the building is that's as hot as it gets basically. So
Yeah, where I work at my company, I work in the stock room. So like all the other departments, they usually got his centralized heating and stuff like that. But in the specific location of where I work, the stock room, you can't really heat that room and stuff like that. So what I do, layers. I wear 3 pairs of leggings, and I'm wearing 4 pairs of leggings, and I'm wearing 3 t-shirts or 4 underneath this t-shirt and stuff like that. But the interesting comment from like the live chat, the 255 AD, hey, he's awesome. They're awesome. I don't know their gender. I wear socks almost all the time because being barefoot kind of gives me a sensory overload. That's kind of interesting, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That's the opposite for me. I hate wearing socks.
Mm-hmm.
The top of the sock, it's I don't know the word I want to use.
Is it like irritating?
No, it's
the elastic, like the thing that holds it on your foot.
Yeah, when it
the
snuggles too much your leg. When it's too tight.
Like the compression of it, it's just cutting off your circulation. It feels like.
Yeah, I hate that sensation.
Well, you need looser socks.
No, it's not because my socks are too tight. They're not too tight, but it feels like they are. I don't like the sensation on the delimitation between the sock and the not sock.
It sounds like your feet have claustrophobia a little bit.
It's ironic because they have socks that go in the other direction, which they call compression socks, which are for like people with like a lot of pain, or they're athletes, and they're so tight they actually help you with your muscles.
They're also for old ladies with varicose veins.
Yeah,
and they make you wear them in hospital when you get surgery. Oh God, I hated those.
And we're back to socks. What's your knitting?
Yeah, I guess it's better than a thrombosis, which is what they're trying to prevent.
Yes.
So
they have a lot of medical applications and sport applications. Those compression socks, they're good thing, in most respects. Not always, but
yeah, I love fuzzy socks. I look forward to winter because I get to possibly get some new fuzzy socks. So.
I need to get new socks because like I have a whole set of these like Sailor Moon socks, which is like all 6 of them. And but like I wore them so often, some of them have folds. This one actually has a small hole in it, so it's like I have to really replace them or something like that or throw them away.
Also known as Amy, right? That's
yeah, grown up shopping, so boring.
Adam Rainstopter is going to call his next band Thrombosa. That sounds cool. And check out Adam Rainstopter's channel. He puts up some awesome music on there. He just recently put up a diss track on Jimmy Reefer Cake, which, yes, he did collaborate before.
Oh my God. I'm going to have to listen to that because I fucking hate that guy. Anyway.
Yeah, so like he did a
Jimmy Dore, Brain Dead.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Jimmy Reefer Cake's a Jimmy Dore fanboy now. That's like, and him and Ransom did work together to create the ska song manga Hypocrite. But Jimmy Reefer Cake has gone full reactionary. So there's now a diss track on Adam Rainstopter's channel that is a excellent, nice little. It makes me want to listen to more old school punk songs. And after that, hearing that song, so there you go. Adam Rainstopter free shout outs.
Like just about Jimmy for a second, like his songs that he made for years and years that are like on the jury part were like really funny, but he just kind of lost his mind when the whole Trump thing came along, and it's like Dore did too. But maybe they were always crazy, no one just ever noticed. But
yeah, I was gonna say, like, when did Jimmy Dore become a complete asshole? Because he was kind of a bit of an asshole before, but
it was. Yeah, so when he was on the Young Turks, he was a comedian that made fun of George Bush and everything else and was going on. But then when Trump came along and the whole he started with his theory that if we let Trump win, it'll that's the revolution and everything will be great after that. Everybody will like rise up and everything will change. And then Sam Cedars like you're crazy, and they started hating each other, and then. All his fans were like, oh, he's just jealous. He's a failed comedian and his channel's smaller. And what's funny because the majority part channel is bigger than Jimmy's channel now. They surpassed them because their growth rate increased, I guess. But so that argument went out the window. But yeah, it's just all the thing with like, oh, Jill Stein, just vote for her. And then, that will make everything all better. And, Trump's a big one I can trust because I know what he's all about versus, but, you know.
Yeah, A did in the chat just mentioned it's like the election of Trump is when Jimmy lost it. So,
okay. Yeah, because I saw some, like, he was in my recommended or something, and I remember him from the Young Turks, and I went on it, and I was like, why is he being such an asshole?
Well, he's just like, he's always like one of those like prick comedians, like the Louis C.K.
Like Andrew Dice Clay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, Louis C.K. is kind of, he's like an edgelord comedian, you know, like or now CK's kind of become that now because that's his audience, because everybody else who's not a, you know, internet prick doesn't like him anymore.
Left,
you know,
right.
or they're just immoral assholes, whatever you want to say, I guess. But yeah, Dora is, I think he's a funny comedian, but he's just like, he just lost his mind. And, you know, this thing about Trump's gonna kickstart this fourth revolution where we'll have like,
who are you talking about?
Jimmy Dore, I think.
Jimmy Dore.
I'd never heard about him.
He was also on Joe Rogan as well, so he follows kind of like that kind of like political mindset as well. I've been told and stuff like that. So it's hearing him being an accelerationist is like, oh no, please no.
Yeah,
People suffer
if you don't follow like YouTube politics really hardcore, like the political channels on the YouTube, like the American ones, you probably would know who he was, because he's like not really that famous. He's only known. I know him from the Young Turks because he was on there, and then he went off on his own because I don't know why he left. It's not like Dave Rubin where he wanted like 6-figure salary every year, and then he like tell him to go pound sand, and he left. And but Jimmy, they have similar like politics now, basically. Rubin's like an intellectual mercenary. Basically, whatever you pay him to say, he'll do it. Okay, literally, if Sam Peter said, "Here's $1 million a year," he would go back and, I think the Kochs are evil. I think Trump's a, you know, and I'm an SJW. He would literally flip just like that. He's like a hermit crab. But Dore's a little bit more of, he actually believes in like what he says, unlike Rubin, and he has a channel of, I think, over 400,000 subscribers. It's you know, he's got quite an audience, and but you know, he's still a YouTube comedian basically at the end of the day.
Yeah,
with some shitty takes.
Yeah.
Well, delusional. Delusional shitty takes, like, you know, that this Trump would be good for America because he'll kickstart the revolution, but then. I was like, Jimmy, do you realize like the damage they're going to do in between now and this is supposed to going to happen? Like they literally put 2 people in the court now, two justices, which are young relatively, and they've passed all these other laws. You know, of course they lost control of the House, but still, you know, they had 2 years to just do whatever they wanted to and get away with it. So they lower the tax of the rich again, and you know, and et cetera, et cetera.
Well, in the regulations that Trump can kind of have his secretaries fiddle with on their own without Congress.
Roll them back.
He's rolled back climate change, things that would help with climate change, things that would help with advancing renewable energy. And he's rolled back food and drug inspections. It's, you know, it's the wind industry's.
It's Sinclair's The Jungle.
Yeah, and Sinclair the network is very happy about it.
Yeah,
Sinclair controlled like 70% of the cable channels, cable stations in the United States now, and they changed the rules so they can buy them all basically. So they
I don't think it's 70% of the cable channels. They have
affiliates
in 70% of the markets.
Yes,
they don't own 70%. They're not a monopoly of all the market, but they do have a large majority of the markets. They have an outlet. If they had 70% of the entire market, I think we'd be in bad shape.
Sinclair Broadcasting Companies like owns a lot of like different like networks or TV stations and various
Local
different
stations.
like, local
Yeah,
stations.
that's what I mean. Like they own like a big percentage of the
Yes.
broadcasting ability across the United States.
And they always have like all of those like networks who at some time and another broadcast this pro-conservative, pro-Republican kind of like a message and stuff like that. And my local one in the Seattle area, Tacoma 4 News, I think, based on the last week's night from John Oliver's piece on Sinclair Broadcasting Company, they did follow the Sinclair Broadcasting rules and put that out there, but they had it at like 4 a.m. on Sunday. So like they at least can do that, but still, for all the other affiliates, I was like, oh yeah, this is a perfect time to put on our prime time slot in like early morning traffic or like the afternoons and stuff like that. So yeah,
I think this is going to increasingly become an rural-urban divide because increasingly people are not even signing up for cable. They're going completely digital, but of course you need the infrastructure to do that. So those local TV stations really service the rural areas where you get the signal boost and you get the national programming. And that's where that's also where we have the Republican divide is the urban areas and the rural areas. So it feeds into that. It's like AM radio in that way.
Oh, is all conservative talk on AM radio?
Pretty much.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They are archaic in the largest sense of the word, aren't they?
Yeah. And this is kind of Sinclair's doing the same thing, but with local TV stations, terrestrial kind of, broadcasters, where you can get the same programming on by signing up to Hulu or whatever else. But what you can't get is like the local football game results, the high school football games, what's happening in the division, this high school, whatever.
Is there no enforced competition about those services?
Well, normally there's... in most places, they'll have a Fox station, a CBS station, an NBC, and an ABC, because those are the 4 major broadcasters.
Yeah.
And so in that way, you have channel competition. But I don't know if Sinclair can own 3 of the 4 stations, you don't have ownership.
So if you look at the list, they have sometimes all 4 affiliates, or at least 3 of them in some of these metro areas.
Right.
So I'm looking at like the first one on the list is Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Anniston, Alabama. They have CW, My TV Network, CW, and ABC. In another Pensacola, Florida, they have ABC, NBC, My TV. So yeah, they've
sure. Those are the big centers, aren't they? Talking about the rural areas.
It's like Murdoch owning multiple papers.
Right.
Across the world, right?
Yeah.
This is why I hate capitalism. I just don't trust capitalism whatsoever because it's always who has the most money can win, as it were, and I hate that. With our current system as it is,
They come across anti-competition laws. Presumably in America, they're fairly ferocious competition.
There are rules like that, but they tend to be. You can't have multiple modes. So in other words, you can't have a TV station and a newspaper or something like that. I don't know the details of it, but when it comes to like the TV stations, and I remember this because Baltimore had a mix-up with this like in the 90s, where all the TV stations changed affiliates because someone bought something else, so they had to get rid of the TV station, but that meant this other TV station. So all the TV stations in Baltimore changed in the 90s because of it, but it's a really esoteric, and people are able to, they can't have a monopoly on all the media, but because the rules are different for the rules are for television, radio, and newspaper.
Right, independently.
Yeah. There are also rules, and this came up from I don't know who's typing, but we can hear you. There's because of the Patreon thing, they're saying, Patreon's a monopoly. The issue there is that, sorry, somebody's typing. I keep hearing it, and it's distracting me. But if a company is a natural monopoly, they're just so good that they dominate the field, that's not illegal. What becomes a monopoly is if you engage in predatory practices, like you undercut prices to drive your competition out in order to extend your monopoly. So that's another part of the non-monopoly issue with Sinclair is if they just are more successful at running local TV stations, there's nothing in the law that prevents them from doing that.
Right. I mean, just another horrific exposure of what I always suppose was correct about American culture. It's supposed to be competitive, and all free markets, but it's not really free markets at all. There's the fix is in, as it were. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, the system going on as long as it has, that tendency of monopoly. I mean, I talked about this on my Sunday show earlier today, that capitalism has like a centrifugal force, that capital wants to aggregate to a single source. And the governments have to step in to break up monopolies and prevent that, in terms of illegal competitive practices. But in terms of the market, sorry for the background noise, but in terms of the market, I don't know how you can fix that. So.
Yeah, I don't think there's such a thing as perfect competition and stuff like that. Yeah,
because there's some advantages to having a really large company with global reach, in that you can extend a service, and you can do it more efficiently than 10 people doing the same stuff.
Efficiency of scale, yes, quite.
Yeah. So, guys, I think we've been going for about an hour and change here, hour and 20. So, this has been a pleasant chat, you guys.
I mean, we talked about Sock started a conversation on unhooking anime, manga, and broadcasting politics, general politics. Jimmy Dore, we wanted to get
fuck you, Jimmy.
Boobs.
Can I put in my sock point?
Sure.
Rumor has it if you keep your socks on, the orgasms are more intensive. So there you go.
Oh well.
Wait a minute. I think Sexplanations, like in the past month, has done a video on socks. So and that channel is amazing. It's
I didn't watch it, to be honest, but there you
go. So check out Sexplanations as well.
Oh yes, and also comment etiquette, internet comment etiquette, did a video we just released in the last couple of days, and he reacts to the Gillette ad reaction. Ooh. And I would recommend everyone check that out. It's well worth just waiting, because it's the last bit of the video, so you have to wait till almost the end, but it's very funny. Please do check it out.
It really cut the MRAs pretty deep, didn't it?
Please do post a link.
I am doing that right now. Hold on.
In the chat?
In our chat as well as the live chat, yes.
Okay. So yes, I think it's about the future of the internet, or the future of entertainment part 2.
Yeah, okay. I saw that, and okay. Copy a link and put it in the group chat. All right.
And the live chat.
And the live chat.
So people can, because now we're gonna finish up.
Hey.
So yeah, it's been a lovely chat, you guys. Really chill. I'm glad we didn't go anywhere near Trump. This has been a nice break. And next time we'll be doing it'll be February, so probably closer to the end of the month as well. So thank you guys for your support, for being patrons and supporting the channel and helping out fund this and the podcast for the happy hour and everything else that you guys do. Oh, and we didn't talk about it. Well, we talked about it in the Facebook group, or I posted about it. But are people okay with giving money to? We'll talk about it more in terms of distribution. But the charity would be the one recommended by Mike Suchberry. To fund it was some sort of lawsuit.
Yeah, I had severe misgivings about that, but that's just me at the moment.
Okay, well, we can have a talk about that. So in the group then. So.
Okay.
All right. So for everyone else watching, thanks so much. If you want to join our chats, of course, it costs as little as $1 a month to become a patron. And then you also become an official member of the Resistance as well, where we make these charitable contributions before monthly, but now a quarterly manner, because I'm really busy and it's a lot of paperwork. So anyway, thank you to each of you. Do you want to, should we start with Bruce? Bruce, say bye.
Bye.
Tim, say bye.
See you later, everybody.
Leto. Say bye.
Bye. Au revoir.
Mariana.
Ciao.
Matthew.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Jonathan.
Hello. Come and check out the Summer Ending Geek channel. I just posted last night the highlights for the Seaside's Patreon Hangouts from 2018. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, so go check that out. And also, please check out my previous video, a review of the anime movie A Silent Voice. It's coming out in theaters in January 28th and January 31st in the United States through Fandom Events. I highly recommend that movie. That movie makes me cry whenever I watch it. I get choked up when I think about certain scenes. It's like it's a great movie, better than Your Name, and that's high praise because I love Your Name.
You can't just say goodbye, can't you?
He's like,
no,
chilly.
I can't. I must self-promote fucking capitalism, and I'll say bye.
Tom.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Oh, I love
No, all feet are not the same.
All right, you guys. I've been Christy. All of you guys have been awesome, and we'll see us all back here sometime in February. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.